Hey yo, what's poppin', y'all? It's your boy C Double G, and I hope y'all all had a great holiday. And even if you didn't celebrate Thanksgiving, I still hope that your day was dope. Today, I'm going to go over how you actually get double drops from gatherings, such as double Voidor, double chunks of Adderstone, double Garlic, double Tarragon, whatever. In my video about getting legendary hides, I ended up popping a proficiency potion and wasn't getting extra drops, and a bunch of people in my comments were telling me the wrong information on how to get more drops. People were saying that you needed 51% yield in order to get the double drops. You need 57% yield to get the double drops. One person even told me you need 38% to get the double drops. None of this is true. The only way to get double drops from Orichalcum to get Voidor, or double herbs or double spices from herbs, you need 100% yield. And in this video, I'm going to prove that, and I'm going to show you how to achieve that. Before we get into that, I just wanted to say a really big thank you. We just surpassed 1,000 subscribers on this channel, which is absolutely nuts. We grew so fast with all the support you guys have been giving me and all the love you've been showing the channel. So thank you guys so much. All right, enough of that sappy stuff. Let's get back to the video. So, as I said, you need 100% yield in order to proc the double drops. One misconception is that when you have 50% or higher, that you have a chance at a double drop, and that's completely false. You have a 0% chance at getting double drops until you hit 100% yield. There are 7 ways to raise your yield in New World for you to hit that 100% threshold. Territory lifestyle buffs when you own a house in that territory. Your attributes, as in strength, intelligence, and dex, when it's at 250. Faction control bonus when your faction controls the area you're farming in. Your tools with yield on it. Control of the Windsward Tower. Proficiency boosters, and gathering speed. That's right, gathering speed. The territory standing card that we thought gave nothing actually gives you yield, because we all know it didn't make you gather anything faster. We're still not sure if this is a bug or if this is like a misprint or what it is, but any percent that you have in gathering speed goes to straight yield. So if you have 22% gathering speed, you're going to have 22% yield in the territory that you have that in. This gathering speed is going to be the main thing that allows you to hit that 100% threshold in any town that you're in, because you don't have control over all the other factors sometimes, such as the Windsward Tower might be controlled by an opposing faction, or the place you're trying to farm in is controlled by an opposing faction. So that's 20% yield that you don't get, because each of those things give 10%. But for those things you can't just solo to take over, and even if you try to solo take over Windsward Tower, it might be locked due to a war or an invasion. So raise your territory standing as high as possible in the area that you plan on farming in order to better reach your 100% yield goal. So let's get into some examples. Alright, so currently I have farmed my Ebonscale Reach territory standing to reach a total of 29.5% quote-unquote gathering speed, which is 29.5% yield. So we're going to take that number and we're going to add it to the other stat buffs that we're going to be applying. First buff will be the Farmer's Harvest buff that is from the Ebonscale house in my server. I have a house here, and the company activated that, so that's 20% extra to my harvesting. Second, we have our sickle that has 17% yield on it, so that's going to add to that, so that's 20 and 17 and 29, which equals to a total of 66. Then we have the 250 intellect, which adds another 10%. That puts us at 76. Now that we add the fact that my faction controls the Windsward Tower, which gives us an extra 10%, which now we have a total of 86. So I just wanted to come out here with the 86%. I didn't pop the proficiency potion yet because I want to show you guys that I'm only getting one ginger with 86%. So that debunks the 50% or the 57%. Still gives you double drops. That's not true. I'm at 86% and only got one. Now I popped the powerful proficiency potion to put me at 101%. And now I'm getting 2 ginger. I had to pop the powerful one because it gave me 15% and not the strong one, because the strong one only gives 10 and that would have only put me at 96%, which would not make double drops happen. So you see the herbs are dropping at +2 now instead of +1 because I am at 101 total yield. All right, now let's try something else. A lot of people don't know, or a lot of people want to ask, do the housing buffs stack? So if you have a house in 2 different places where they both have Miner's Resolve, for example, active, do they stack? Well, I abandoned my house in Brightwood and bought a house in Monarch's Bluff to try to test this. As you just saw, I have a house in Monarchs and Miner's Resolve is active, and then of course I already have this house in Ebonscale, which also has Miner's Resolve active. So that gives that if they stack, that should start us off with a base of 40%. Now add that to the 29% that we have here in Ebonscale from our territory standing, our gathering speed, and we'll have a total of 69% yield. Nice. Now we have to respec our stats to get 250 strength so we can get 10% more yield for mining with that buff. That will put us at a total of 79. Now we add 17% more yield on from our pickaxe, and that should give us a total of 96% without proficiency potions. So we came out here still in Ebonscale and we just popped our proficiency potion, which gave us plus 15%. Add that to the 96 and that will give us 111 total percent if the house stacked. Now, unfortunately, Void Ore still relies on luck and not yield, and we weren't able to get anything from the Orichalcum ore, so we went somewhere else in Ebonscale Reach to try to test whether the 111 buff worked with the double houses. The reason I stayed in Ebonscale is because it is not governed by my faction, and I didn't want that 10% buff to affect the numbers when doing this example. Also in this example, we lost control of Windsward Tower, so we don't have the 10% buff from that either. It is now controlled by the Covenant, and I am Syndicate. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and mine some iron ore in Ebonscale to see if we can get any drops to show if we got 1 or 2. My proficiency potion is still active, my luck food is still active, and I should still have 111% yield if the house is stacked. But as you see here, we only got 1 flawed gem, which should never happen if you're getting the double drops. You should never get 1 of anything if you have the 100% yield needed. The only explanation for that is that the houses don't stack. If the houses don't stack, that means we lose 20% of what we currently have, which will put us at 92, I believe. My math is right. But another example here is we only get 1 small quartz crystal. After this, I only had 2 more questions. 1 is the housing buff global, and 2, does your company owning territory actually give you the 10% gathering? Like, does that work? So I came to Windsward to test that out since my faction owns Windsward. The only issue with this one was that I had less gathering speed in Windsward than I had in Ebonscale. So I leveled up my territory standing as high as I could and as quickly and as little time as possible, and ended up getting to 27% gathering speed. And then I had my other buffs. I had the 20% for the housing, since I'm only going to count for 1 house since they don't stack. 10% more for my strength. 17% for my tool, 10% for the faction buff now that I'm in a governing faction like area, and then 15% for my proficiency boost. That unfortunately only equaled to 99%. So I had to take some Asmodeum and crafted another pickaxe to get higher yield and hopefully get some luck. But I ended up crafting a 19% yield pickaxe with no luck, unfortunately. But this does put me at 101% yield, so I'm going to go test that before and after I pop the proficiency potion. Again, I don't have control of the Windsward Tower. It is locked and it is controlled by the Covenant, so that 10% will not be applying. Everything else is the same though. Alright, this is the control test, right? So I haven't popped my proficiency booster yet, so I am sitting currently at 86% yield. And again, if the house is stacked, it would have put me at 106, which they don't. I got one shard of Adderstone, and again, if you had 100% yield, you would never get one of anything. So now I'm going to pop my proficiency booster and then go find some iron or something to mine, so that way we can test that adding that 15 will get me to 101, and now I will get double drops of whatever that I mine. So here I got 2 flawed aquamarine. I know it's just like a flawed jewel, but I got +2 topaz, +6 flawed diamond. But I'm gonna do one more test. I'm gonna look for a small quartz and mine that one, because that always drops that one no matter what. And you're gonna see that it drops 2 here. Alright, it took me a minute because there's no daggone luck on this pickaxe that I had to make to get my yield to 100%. But finally, as soon as I figured out how to get up this mountain like a Papega, I was able to mine this iron vein and finally get that small quartz. Got 2 of them. More proof that houses don't stack. More proof that you need 100% or more yield to get the double drops. And all my questions have been answered. Alright, so now I'm just going to summarize everything. So for those of you who just like trust me and want to know how to get it done and how to get the 100 yield, I got you. And for those of you who watched the whole thing and forgot everything by now because this video is so long, I got you too. Alright, first of all, you need 100% yield in order to get the double drops. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You need to somehow get to 100% yield. It's not true that you have a chance to get double drops if you have 57 or plus or whatever the number is. That's completely false. You will never get a double drop until you get 100% yield. That is a fact. Housing lifestyle buffs like Miner's Resolve are global. They work anywhere you are in the world, no matter where your house is, where that buff is active. You can have a house with Miner's Resolve and even scale, and you'll still get that 20% buff in Windsward. These lifestyle buffs do not stack. So if you have a house in Everfall with Miner's Resolve active and you have a house in Brightwood with Miner's Resolve active, you will not get 40% buff to your yield. Only one house at a time with the lifestyle buff works. Gathering speed card from your territory standing equals yield. So if you have 27% gathering speed in that town from your territory standing, you will have 27% yield in that town for your territory standing. You get a 10% yield bonus if you are gathering in a town that your faction owns. You will get a 10% yield buff globally if your faction controls the Windsward Tower. Not just in Windsward, that buff works everywhere as long as your faction controls that tower in Windsward. The yield that you have on your tools apply to everything, and so does proficiency boosters. All of it stacks. A good tool percentage is about 17%, but if you're short, you might have to get higher, or you just build your territory standing up more so you can get more of that gathering speed. And getting an attribute to 250 will give you an extra 10% yield in whichever skill you decide to spec in, depending on the gathering you're doing. And that's pretty much it. If you guys have any comments, questions, or concerns, please leave them in the comment section below. I know this was kind of a long video, but I did not want to leave any stone unturned. I wanted to make sure I had all the information. I wanted to make sure that I tested everything myself and that you guys were able to see it for yourself, so that way you can believe it and you wouldn't think that I was lying or messing up somewhere. Like, I got it all right here for you. So if you made it all the way through, I appreciate it. If you guys found this video helpful at all, please leave a like, and if you want to see more content like this, consider hitting that sub button. But other than that, I've been CG, and I hope you guys have a dope ass day. Deuces.